the top stories, President Sahle-Work says mentorship provides multi-layered benefits to students joining universities. And 4 out of 10 women in Tanzania reportedly experience gender-based violence. Hello and thank you all for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. President Sahle-Work says mentorship for students in higher learning institutions helps Ethiopia create gender transformative universities across the country. This came today at the launching ceremony of a mentorship program for female students joining higher learning institutions. Shifarao Lako has that part of the story.
Ensuring gender equality in higher education is one of the areas high on the agenda of the Ethiopian government across a spectrum of disciplines. Although the country has been hailed for its gender parity, especially in the ministerial portfolio, the argument is that a lot remains to be done to expand this to other areas. The mentorship program, prepared by the Ministry of Women, Children and Youth, features successful women supporting 50 fresh university students with high grades. President Sahle-Work has officiated the program.
የሜንተር ስራ በእውነቱ በቃላት የሚገለጽ
I believe mentorship can provide multi-layered benefits to new students joining universities. It greatly encourages them to confidently face new life and environment. This helps them to become successful, equipped with important skills that go beyond universities. The presence of model females also encourages creating visionary students in the future.
As mentorship encourages collaboration over competition, it helps minimize frustration on the part of up-and-coming female students.
ይህ መርሃ ግብር እንደ ሀገር መጀመሩ በጣም ትልቅ ትርጉም አለው።
The commencement of the mentorship program as a nation means a lot, as it will add to the greater nationwide plan in ensuring gender parity. It will also help us shift our attention to senior students in universities. Besides, it's important to create gender transformative universities.
The president has appreciated the successful women who offered to provide mentorship to the students. Future plans include scaling this up to other students, it was learned.
The East African Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, has said it will support the Ethiopian government's law enforcement campaign, which is crucial in safeguarding the country's unity and constitutional order. The conference in Djibouti concluded with a peaceful resolution of disputes and the resumption of diplomatic relations. Emmanuel Jorge tells you more.
The 38th Extraordinary Summit of East African IGAD member states is held in Djibouti. The summit is believed to be successful, for it could return Somalia and Kenya into peaceful negotiation and diplomatic relationship. The two countries were in serious disagreement, even up to terminating their diplomatic relationship by withdrawing their diplomats from each other due to conflict of interest on fuel-rich coastal borders. African Union Commission Commissioner Musa Faki Mohammed expressed his support to the diplomatic talk.
The recent tension between Somalia and Kenya, two neighboring countries, which led to the breakdown of diplomatic relations, remain a serious concern for the African Union. I would therefore like to call on the two parties to open dialogue with a view to the resumption of these relations and ask IGAD to strongly encourage them in this regard.
Spokesperson of Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs Ambassador Dina Mufti shared the main issues discussed in the 38th IGAD summit and said member states of IGAD reacted positively to Ethiopia's law enforcement campaign.
In the summit, IGAD member states were fully supporting the law enforcement operation which Ethiopia launched in the Tigray region. This is what you have been reporting by the time. In the interaction, they all have been fully supporting Ethiopia's measure. Also, this is portrayed in the IGAD summit. Especially, When Moussa Faki, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, was vocal that Ethiopia's law enforcement measure is supported, this is big diplomatic success. Also, in a spirit of African solution for African problems, they showed great commitment to resolve Kenya-Somalia case. Our Prime Minister was also discussing with leaders on several issues. Especially, he continued the talk with the Sudanese Prime Minister on issues which started weeks ago in Addis Ababa and the recent Ethio-Sudan border issues. Generally, it was a successful platform in which they agreed on peaceful and diplomatic ways of resolving disputes.
The ambassador added that Ethiopia played a key role in resolving the conflict between Kenya and Somalia peacefully.
Ethiopia has been working hard focusing on issues of neighboring countries and diplomatic issues. It is very known that we have never been saying normally that our neighbors' issues are interlaced with ours. Even though we Ethiopians are preoccupied with internal affairs, we are showing this much effort to resolve the dispute between Kenya and Sudan, considering the value of our neighbors. This shows that we have continued the existing track record of valuing our neighbors' peace and development.
The 38th Extraordinary Summit in Djibouti concluded with a peaceful resolution of disputes and the resumption of diplomatic relations.
Commander of the Ethiopian Air Force, Major General Yilma Merdasa, has visited the Western Division of the Air Force. He thanked heads and members of the division and described them as heroes for the victory they achieved in foiling the plans of the treasonous TPLF. The Ethiopian Air Force's Western Division had played a key role in the law enforcement operation carried out against the TPLF junta, said the Ministry of Defense on its official Facebook page. He said heads and members of the Western Division had practically demonstrated their loyalty to the people by defeating the junta that attacked the National Defense Forces, the backbone of the nation. The commander urged the division to strengthen its role of safeguarding the nation by expediting its reform process, equipping itself with needed manpower and technology, and remaining independent from political parties. Senior leadership of Tigray's Prosperity Party, PP, and the interim administration have visited the damages caused by the TPLF junta in Adigrat town. Among members of the delegation include CEO of the interim administration, Dr. Mulu Nagga, and senior leadership of Tigray's PP, Dr. Abraham Belai. The delegation witnessed the damages caused to properties in Adigrat University and Addis pharmaceutical factory by the TPLF junta, in addition to the robberies committed by the irresponsible group. Dr. Mulu on the occasion said the TPLF group caused serious damages to infrastructure and public properties in the town and the Tigray regional state in general. Once an assessment of the extent of damage is completed, the federal government will find solutions to the problem. A renowned Ethiopian scholar accused the New York Times of pulling out its long knife against Ethiopians and the Ethiopian people. The scholar Alemayo Gebremariam further pointed out that the New York Times did so in alliance with many media outlets, including the Reuters, the BBC, Al Jazeera, and Foreign Policy Online, among others. Alemayo demonstrated how the New York Times perpetrated lies, fake news, and disinformation in a publication dated December 12, 2020, which produced a single photograph of an alleged victim of ethnic violence. The photograph did not meet the forensic smell test of authenticity, according to a panel of medical experts. Here is Binyam Alemayo for more on that.
Alemayo made the comment when he presented evidence that the New York Times has published demonstrable falsehoods. A panel of medical experts examined the photographic image produced by the New York Times and concluded it did not meet the forensic smell test of authenticity. The scar on the image is at least 3 months old and highly likely more than 6 months old. The scar depicted in the image appears to be a result of a surgical intervention rather than a strangulation injury, according to the experts. The storyline and the general well-being of the remainder of the skin of the alleged victim contradict one another, the experts further concluded. Alemayo exposed what he called a well-coordinated media assault by the New York Times and other media outlets such as Al Jazeera, which have ganged up on Ethiopia as propagandists for the now-defunct TPLF. The finding by a panel of experts, he said, demonstrates how the New York Times is shamelessly trampling upon journalistic ethics in its endeavor to depict the TPLF as an innocent victim. This, he said, makes the New York Times an enemy of the Ethiopian people and guilty of editorial oversight, was the result of disinformation on Ethiopia.
The Ethiopian Ministry of Peace has announced the launch of a national community-based consultation as of today. The consultation aims to create common understanding on key issues and to promote national consensus, said the ministry on its official Facebook page. It is also intended to build an ethical, reasonable, demanding, problem-solving and participatory society in the peace and democratization process. The ministry called on all Ethiopians to play a constructive role for the success of the consultation.
Policy Matters. Policy Matters is a conversation platform which aims to provide reasoned analysis and content to the activities, reforms and policies of the federal government of Ethiopia.
I think the Maikadra massacre alone will warrant holding the TPLF leadership as international terrorists, leave alone the 27 years of killings and humiliation and dehumanizing of the Ethiopian people. Coming from the Somali region, where for nearly 10 years the TPLF was committing something close to ethnic cleansing, and knowing the silence of the international community, I was left to wonder what considerations are there for the international communities when it comes to passing moral judgments and political positions on countries.
Welcome back. You're watching Addis News Hour. The Federal Attorney General, Gideon Timotheus, said activities are well underway to capacitate the nation's judiciary system with the intention of handling massive cases properly. Approached by the Policy Matters English program, Gideon accused the TPLF of instigating continual conflicts in various parts of the country. Alula Taklamariam has more.
Addressing queries of the Parliament in their recent extraordinary session, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has mentioned 113 conflicts that happened in Ethiopia in the last 2 years, orchestrated by TPLF. The 114th incident was the TPLF junta's attack on the Northern Command Defense Force, the Premier added. The TPLF has undoubtedly involved in those conflicts in which Attorney General Gideon Timotheus confirmed the cases.
When the change in administration took place about 2.5 years ago, many within the TPLF top brass were not really happy about the transition and the change in administration. It meant that they were losing their privilege, they were losing the dominant position they had, and it seemed that one strategy they designed and tried to implement was days by 1,000 cuts. Right? So you instigate conflicts here and there, you incite communal clashes here and there, and through those mechanisms try to undermine the new administration.
The Attorney General said activities are well underway to capacitate the nation's judiciary system with the intention of handling massive cases properly.
We are continuously striving to strengthen and enhance our capability. I would say that the fact that we have been able to bring thousands of suspects in relation to these conflicts, to identify, to investigate, identify, and apprehend not just a few hundreds, but a couple of thousands of suspects. And the fact that we have been able to process them through the judicial machinery, the fact that they are having their day in court and they are being held accountable, some of them being acquitted, some being convicted, I think that is a testament to the capability of the state.
He said the persistent conflicts in Ethiopia have resulted in momentous impacts in the socio-economic and political aspects of the country.
The overall political, social, and economic impact of this incident is it's something worth looking into, and I'm very glad that you raised this question. So, to start with the economic impact, in just one of the incidents that has occurred in one of the regional states, the destruction of property has been to the tune of almost 4 billion. So many businesses were burned down, they're ransacked, private property was destroyed, burned down. This is, and you'd have to look into the number of people who were employed and who are their livelihood in these businesses, in these enterprises. The impact this will have on investment and economic activity and enterprise. It has been quite significant.
In recent days, the National Electoral Board of Ethiopia is undertaking preparations to hold the 6th general elections. As part of this move, contesting political parties said further activities are needed to create a peaceful environment to undertake the upcoming general election across the country. Talking to ETV, representatives of 3 contesting political parties said collective efforts are essential to make the 6th general election effective and exemplary. Haptamu Ashagri has more.
Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the Electoral Commission of Ethiopia has postponed the 6th general election last year. After a year, the National Electoral Board of Ethiopia is undertaking preparations to conduct the general election the coming May or July this year. Talking to ETV, contesting political party representatives said further effort is needed to bring peace across the country to undertake the general election across the country. According to politicians, analyzing the existing problems as well as solving these problems are vital to undertake the upcoming general election.
With all the odds, with all the problems, with all the issues arising now, I think, and my party thinks that election should be conducted to legitimize the government, to legitimize all the processes in this country. So we think it's good to conduct the election to give things a conclusion, at least for this period.
መጀመሪያ ሀገር መረጋጋት አለባት ሀገር ያለችበትን ሁኔታ ኦዲት ማድረግ አለባት
First, we have to bring peaceful environment in our country. Further activities are critical to restore peace. We have to create conducive environment to undertake the 6th general election across the country. The election by itself is sensitive. We need further attention to analyze the negative impact of the election. I think it is better to stabilize the nation at all.
Ethiopia needs to understand the ongoing messes as well as conflicts so as to conduct the upcoming election.
አገራችን ያለው የጸጥታ ሁኔታ በጣም አሳሳቢና ምርጫን ለማድረግ የሚያስችል ነው የሚል እምነት የለንም እንደ ኢዴፓ
It is an alarming security threat in our country. As Ethiopian Democratic Party, we believe Ethiopia is not in the right position to undertake the general election. We also believe that the upcoming election must be modesty from the previous 5 general elections. We have strongly believed that creating conducive environment is critical to undertake the general election. To realize this hard fact, we have to sit and discuss the major problems that we have.
ይህን ችግር ለመፍታት ደግሞ በቅድሚያ ችግሮች
According to politicians, creating national dialogue on common matters is critical so as to cement national consciousness in Ethiopia. They urge the ruling party needs to take responsibilities to restore peace and stability.
The government should take responsibility to bring that peace and stability, to bring the parties, the people together so that there is a kind of national reconciliation, discussion, dialogue, at least to come together to go to the election peacefully in a relatively better manner. That's what I'm saying. We need peace and stability, but it's not going to be 100% or 90%. It can be below that. But still, if we are all together and go for our country first, not for our power, not to win in the election, the primary thing is our country.
በቅድሚያ ችግሮቻችንን ለይተን በችግሮቻችን ዙሪያ ተወያይተን ተደራድረን እስከዛሬ ድረስ የነበረውን ደግሞ
To solve our problems, we have to identify major problems of the nation so as to negotiate to set new political directions in our country. We believe further activities are vital to create national consensus before the election be conducted. As we all know, election is a cause of political conflicts and damage in many countries. As a result, we have to pay great attention for this concern.
ተመካክረን የራሳችን ሀገር ነው ያገር የራሳችን ወንበር ነው ወንበሩ
We need to discuss certain issues in our country. This is our country, and we have common chair to administer the people. As a result, we have to settle down things to bring responsible government in our country by creating conducive political climate. In difficult situation, we are ready to take part in the upcoming general election.
Information obtained from the National Electoral Board of Ethiopia is showing over hundreds of regional and national political parties across the country are expected to participate in the upcoming general election.
Ethiopia's Harar city is trying to regain its former image and fame. The city's municipality has planned to build a tourist park similar to Addis Ababa's Ntoto Park. Santayo Tamrat reports.
Harar is one of the ancient cities of Ethiopia. It was established in 10th century and is the fourth holy city of Islam. Located at 525 kilometers from Addis Ababa, the city is surrounded by Jagol Wall, which was built between 13th and 15th century. Harar is one of Ethiopia's tourist destinations, but over the past several years, the fame of the city has faded away. Besides, the urbanization progress in the city has been stagnant.
Harar is an ancient city of magnificent history and culture. The city is also known for being first trade center in East Ethiopia. However, the current status of the city doesn't parallel its historical background. The same holds true for the development of the city. This happened to Harar, while other recently emerged small towns in the country have swiftly transferred into big cities.
Following this, the city government is currently implementing development tasks that could change its current phase as well as restore its good reputation and fame.
We planned and have been implementing various projects that could restore the city's good image and reputation. We are doing this with high motivation and energy. The people is also showing huge appetite to the change. The city's dry waste disposal system was very challenging and sophisticated that it was source of disease. It also became high threat to epidemics. To give a lasting solution to this, we started with taking global and local best practices. We organized the youth in enterprises and trained them. We entered these enterprises into a system so that they can change the waste into bread. The effort so far has brought huge difference in terms of waste disposal, though it has been quite challenging.
We are working on very in a tight and hard way to cover or to make our city very beauty, and which is suitable for our city people to live. And we are working in broad-wide on solid waste management. We are collecting every solid waste from door to door, from every house, by organizing MSCs.
Apart from the city greenery and beautification projects, the city, in collaboration with urban institutional and infrastructure development program, has built interior roads, pavements, bridges and walkways that changes the city's face and brought some social significance, according to the manager.
Regarding infrastructure, we could build roads in collaboration with UIIDP project. But for there were no lights along the roads, they became area of crime. So we installed road lights there and at other places where the community was troubled to work in the evening due to criminals. Besides, cobblestone roads and bridges were built in many parts of the city. These have brought big social value. The bridges, for example, connect Kabyles, thereby dwindling the distance and travel time. In fact, the areas we built bridges used to be crime and waste disposal areas, which was source of disease. These all are avoided now. The walkways are other features that changed the face of the city. They have become places to do regular exercises and take wedding photos.
Through the various projects implemented in a bid to change the image of the city over the previous year, more than 8,000 jobs were created, particularly for the youth. The projects have so far consumed over 34 million birr. The manager also indicated there is a plan to build a park similar to Entoto Park to attract more tourists to the city.
In order to make the city another tourist destination in the country, we planned to build on Mount Hakim a park like Addis Ababa's Entoto Park. By doing so, we could attract more tourists and make them stay for extended days. We already started activities to get the design for the project.